Hello, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining today's class. So we are waiting for other persons to participate in today's class. We will be talking about Primavera P6 for project planning and scheduling. We just have three persons on this call. By 8:40, we would kick off this class. Thank you all for your time. So I would like you um, to stay put, just hang on. By 8:40, that's 6 minutes, sorry, 8:45, 6 minutes from now, we'll kick off our class. Okay, for those of you that are just joining, you might be wondering what's happening. You can't hear, you can't get any audio, nothing. So I said we will be starting this class by 8:45. We have 2 minutes more. We are trying to wait for other persons to hop on the call. So in the next 2 minutes, we are definitely starting. Okay, so before we start, for those of you on the call, I would like to know how many persons knows what Primavera P6 is all about. So is this the first time you are hearing of Primavera P6? Have you heard of it before? Have you used Primavera P6. So I would like you to drop a I would like you to drop a comment in the comment section. I would like to get your thoughts. Now, this is going to help me know who my target audience is, who I am teaching for today's class. Am I teaching some set of experts? Am I teaching two-tone newbies? Um, so yeah, I would love to. Have you used Primavera before? Um, have you used Primavera before? Is this the first time you are using Primavera or hearing of Primavera? Do you know what it's all about? So just give me your your take or your overview on Primavera P6. There are some persons that you don't know what it is used for, you are just hearing it for the first time, and all of that. So I'm waiting for your feedback. For those of you that are online, please, I would like you to give me that feedback. Okay, someone said, okay, Shalewa. Oh, welcome, Shalewa. Long time. Said, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it's used for. Tolu said, new. Okay, so these are just the two feedbacks we have gotten so far. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing a slide. This is what Primavera P6 looks like. So for those of you that took your time to download it and you have installed it, this is basically what Primavera P6 looks like. And the major um the major the major thing Primavera P6 is used for is scheduling. Yeah. So for P6, you are carrying out a project in construction, in the oil and gas. You are so, for instance, you are being given a job to construct a maybe 5,000 kilometer pipeline, or yeah, let's say 5,000 kilometer pipeline, and there's a bid for that. There's a request for proposal, RFP, and now every different contractors start bidding for the job. Now in your tender or your proposal, you're also going to develop your schedule. So how are you going to start this schedule? What are you going to do? Your client needs to see the step-by-step process at which you are going to go for you to finish this 5,000 kilometer pipeline. So the first thing you are going to, from preliminary stage, maybe mobilization, you are getting your equipment, so maybe machineries, depending on the terrain you are working with, you need swamp boogies, Do you need caterpillars, excavators, all those stuff, mobilization, how long is going to take you? The next thing you are going to go for is site inspection, this analysis, survey, then kick off. How long excavation is going to take, how long pipe fitting is going to take, how long procurement is going to take. All those stuff, that is what forms the, is also part of the tender. Your schedule is also part of your tender. And that's just one aspect of scheduling, of using P6. Now, when the job is actually done, there's a set of persons called the project planner. Okay, so for those of you that are participating in today's class for the first time, my name is Prince Christopher, and I'm the CEO and MD of REnT Limited. I'm going to be your instructor for today because I'm also a project planner in the company where I work with. So I'm also going to be sharing my experience with you, a project planner and a scheduler. Now, when that project is done, there's there's organogram, or you call it organizational breakdown structure. The project planner reports to the project manager. Now, when we have started our 5,000 kilometers pipeline that is taking maybe gas or crude, as the project planner, I and the stakeholder, the project manager, we are going to look at the deliverables, how we are going to execute this project. And we are going to also talk with different stakeholders and subject matter experts in their various fields. So we are going to talk to procurement, we are going to talk to material selection specialists, we are going to talk to the pipeline guys, we are going to talk to pipe fitters, and every other person. So we are going to get the deliverables that is needed to execute that job. After we have gotten those deliverables, that is what we are going to use in creating our project schedule. So the pipe fitter is going to tell you, okay, we are going to need so and so amount of electrodes. We are going to need so and so number of persons. One welding, two pipes, two joints is going to take so and so time. So this is how we calculate our labor, the number of personnel we are going to use, how long it's going to take us to move from this point to this point, to develop it in our schedule. And there's some other thing we look out for as, and we call it critical parts. It is very, very important. A critical part is an activity that when it is being tampered on, it affects the finishing time of a particular project. In order for you to understand this, because I understand that there are some undergraduates that are participating in, oh, no audio. Wait, can you guys hear me? I want to confirm that someone just said no audio. Please, before I continue, can anyone hear me? Because I know that I have heard of it, but I don't know what it's used for. It means Shalewa heard me, Tolu heard me, and somehow Tolu said there is no audio. Hello? Hello? Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. I needed to be sure. Okay, that's good. That's good. So please, if you haven't subscribed, I would like you to do that and also hit the like button. But I believe I'm not too fast. You all are getting my explanation. So I'm going to, in order for me to explain what critical part is. So in today's class, I'm not really going to be using slide because one thing you need to know is that you need to learn, you need to know these things. It's not theoretical something. We are not organizing this class for you to just say you have introduced, you have learned it to this class on P6. That's why we said we are not giving any certificates. And the fact that we are not giving any certificates, you find out that a lot of persons are not participating in today's class. Yeah, because what they have been here for is basically how to get certificates and run away. Unfortunately, my organization, what we are more interested in, if you are not interested in the if you are not interested in the value, you are not getting certificates. That's basically it. If you have attended any of our free training, we don't issue certificates for free trainings. Come there, get the knowledge. If you feel what you have learned is good enough and you want to proceed further, that's good for you. But we are not one of those organizations that will just give, um, you know, shallow or, yeah, let me just put it that way, surface lecture, because what we are actually doing is surface. We are not actually going deep into it. But from what we are going to teach you is good enough for you to stand outside and say, oh, I know what Primavera is being used for. You understand? So I believe we are on the same page. I'm trying to look for a particular example I can use as an illustration to explain our critical parts. Okay, so while I'm searching for that, um, I'm going to explain what critical path is while I'm searching for an example to use. So I said a critical path is that activity. I would like you to note this. A critical path is that activity that if it is being delayed, it is going to affect the finish the finish date of the entire project. So I'm going to give one illustration. Then I would want you to look at, just imagine something and give me another example. So the examples I'm going to be giving is your we are we are trying to build a three-story building, for instance, and one of our critical parts is our foundation. Yeah. Now, the moment there is a delay in our foundation, let's assume excavation. You know that you have to do excavation, even if you are not a civil engineer. Somebody needs to dig your foundation. You will not use, it's not magic. It's not magic. So someone needs to dig the foundation. Now, let's assume that your medicine men or your laborers did not dig the foundation when required. Let's assume that that foundation is supposed to take maybe 5 days to dig the foundation or 3 days. Now, your schedule is that 3 days is allocated from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to dig foundation. Then on Thursday, you start laying your blocks. Now, let's assume that something happens and your laborers were unable to dig your foundation, and they started digging that foundation by, let's say, um, they started digging that foundation by Thursday. Now, it automatically means your project has been delayed by 3 days, and it is not something you can maneuver. You can't build your house on top no foundation. You understand? So this is what I'm saying a critical activity is. And also a critical activity, that activity that if it stops, no other activity, the successor cannot start. So if you don't dig your foundation, you cannot do what? You cannot lay your blocks. If foundation is not dug, nothing is going to happen. That project is on standstill. Yeah, the project is on standstill. So that's that's another thing we are looking at as project planners and schedulers. Okay, we are looking at, okay, which of this project, which of this activity that the moment something happens, we will be unable to execute this entire project. What is that major activity? So let's assume you're unable to, for our 10,000 or 5,000 kilometer road, we are unable to procure our excavator that is going to dig the the ground in order for us to lay our pipe. We can do our procurement, we can procure whatever we want to do, get all our machineries in ground, but man, you cannot lay your pipe. So getting your machinery is also one of your critical activities. I'm just I'm just trying to explain some all these things I'm explaining is the role the scheduler and a project planner, the role they play. And there's a difference between a scheduler and a project planner. There's a difference. We are going to look at that maybe tomorrow. We are going to look at that maybe tomorrow. So if you have a question, I would also like you to drop it in the comment section. Yeah, so I gave an illustration of a house, which if we don't finish digging the foundation, we cannot proceed to any other thing. So I would like you to look, juggle your brain and give one other example. So which example can you give that you know that if we don't do this, we won't be able to continue with the next phase of this project? So in construction also, the moment you do your beam, sorry, yeah, either your beam or your column, which is your pillar, you are going to take like 7 days for curing. You get. So it is something that if you delay your beam installation, it means you are going to delay creating the maybe either beam or column. If it's a two-story building, you have not fixed the beam for this, for the ground floor. You can't proceed with the top floor. You understand? So I would like you to think it must not be engineering, it might be something just like if you want to go to work. What do? You need to wake up, take your bath. In fact, waking up is a critical activity because if you don't wake up, you can't do anything. Let me use. I want you to actually understand what we are doing. This is not rocket science. It's day to day. This is what happens day to day. If you don't enter a cab, you are not going to get to your office. And if there is a delay, okay, yeah, I just got another one. Now you are going from uplands to mainland. I'm not staying in Lagos, I'm staying in River State. So yes, mainland to upland or islands to wherever, whichever of the land you are going to. And it's supposed to take you 1 hour to get to your destination, isn't it? Now there is traffic, which is always something that is predominant in Lagos. As long as there is a delay in that your movement, there will be a delay to what you want to go and execute in the office. Now, that your movement is a critical activity for you to execute your office tasks. So please, I'm waiting for your input. Yes, I just gave one now. So look for one. If you don't wake up, you will not eat. Something like that. Madam Shalewa, I'm waiting for you. You're supposed to be the one giving us like five ideas. I'm waiting. Please. You must not be right. We are we are all learning. Um if you know this, you won't be here. You understand? So please don't be ashamed to fail. Don't be too concerned about you not getting it. You should be concerned about um you should be concerned about understanding what what we're actually saying and what we are teaching here. Yes, someone said if you can't make a wooden frame for your sofa, you can't cover it with fabric. Yeah, good. Yeah, someone said after excavation of trench rather, for drainage works, if cement is scarce, there will be delay. Yes, so what Tolu is saying here is procurement. So if you are unable to procure the cement, your block, there's definitely going to be delay in your activity. So imagine you have your laborers on ground and everybody, your bricklayers or your medicine men are asking you where is cement. You say cement is coming. Everybody came to site, they not do anything, they went back home. Cement is still coming. Is delaying is delaying your project. You understand? Yeah, so okay, one said if you want to make Gary, you have to wait for water to boil before adding the Gary, then turn it. Yeah, so a delay in your water boiling. So there are times you want to boil Gary and they say, the water never boils till now. Go and check the fire if it's catching. If you're using firewood or gas, check the gas. Are you sure that thing is some people you go and check it, they not even on gas. So hungry will catch everybody that is in the house that day. So yes, you see that project planning is something we do in our day-to-day activity. So I'm waiting for more. So I believe you guys are now understanding. So that water boiling, it is a critical activity. You cannot use cold water to make garri, except you want to do magic. So that a delay in the boiling of water, if it takes that water 1 hour or 2 days to boil, it's to take people 2 days to eat your garri. So yes, so you guys can still bring up um more examples. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm coming. Okay, so for those of you who will be learning, who want to pick a career in P6, for those of if you are a civil engineer, you are into project planning or project management, you love project management, you want to go into it, P6 and AutoCAD is one of the tools you need to know how to use because you are going to be working with shop drawing, especially those. Now, one good thing about P6 is most of you must have heard of MS Project. Now, MS Project is like a just like somebody is in SS3 or somebody is doing PhD and another person is in year one. So that's how I rate MS Project and Primavera P6. MS Project is doing PhD. Primavera is still in year one. So P6 is like the elder brother of um, MS Project. And learning this, you are going to be an asset for because you are the closest ally to the project manager. Um, your your um your experience cuts across construction. So I just said something. I gave an illustration of building. So you can actually you can actually use P6 in construction. You can use P6 in the oil and gas. You can use P6 even in procurement. You can use P6 in your training. So there is a training bid you are going for, and say we want to train our staff a 2 months training. You can use P6 in scheduling that, in creating the schedule. Week one, this is what we are going to do. Under week one, we are having 3 days training or 4 days training in a week. Day one, this is what you are going to learn. Day two, this is what you are going to learn. How many man hour? You can calculate all those things. And um, like I said, if you are in civil engineering, good. If you are in construction, good. You are in the oil and gas, perfect. So P6 planning and scheduling cuts across almost every aspect of engineering or all aspect of engineering. And when you are going for certification course, we have professional P professional planning and scheduling. PSP. Okay, yeah. Professional schedule plan. Oh God, but I know it's PSP. Sha, I can't remember the full meaning. Professional scheduling and project planning and scheduling professional. Project planning, PPS. Can't remember the first name. PP. Planning and scheduling professional. Okay, PSP, yeah. Planning and scheduling professional. Yes, so I'm correct. PSP. When you are going for your PSP exam, yeah, PSP exam, I'm correct. So, for you to get this certification, any area in engineering, you are good to go. Engineering and construction. So, be it a mechanical engineer, chemical engineer, as long as you are under engineering, you are good to go. So, it means PSP can be used in Primavera P6 can be used in every aspect of engineering, mechanical engineering, as long as you are scheduling something. And one good thing is that we are always scheduling something in engineering. We are always scheduling. We're always trying to execute projects. Okay. At this point in time, I'm going to share my screen, another of my screen, rather. So this is the main, what I'm sharing now is what we actually use um, in teaching our students. Let me use it that way. So I'm giving you guys an extract of our main course. I'm giving you guys an extract of our main course. So what you can see here is the course schedule. Start with introduction, basic concepts, introduction to Primavera P6, enterprise environment in P6. But we are not going to do this. This is the full Primavera course, but we are just going to take everything gradually. So we are going to start with project management. What is project management? What is project management? Okay, project management is a project management. Under project management, we are first of all going to look at what is project, because we have projects and we are managing it. Now, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. And one thing I did was to highlight what a project, I highlighted two words, temporary and unique. Now, every project is always temporary. It doesn't matter how long it takes, even if it's 20 years, it is not permanent. Something that's permanent, it means that it has no end. If it is a 5-year project, it has a start date and it has a finish date. Every project has a start and finish date. And it is a unique product. Every project is unique. You can't use the same thing for two different projects. Even if you use the same thing, you are not using the same resources. You are not using the same man hour. You are not using the same time. So let's assume that you want to execute two projects simultaneously. You are building a duplex. You get um, or a two-story building that are identical. They have the same building plan. Now, in 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 executing that project, we are going to use two different man hour, two different machineries, two different project managers to execute that project, even if they are going simultaneously. That makes it unique because for any reason, the person the person implementing project one may be faster than project two, despite the fact that they are simultaneous. Temporary, like I said, meaning the project has a definite start and a definite end. Every project is different from one another and creates a unique product, result, or service or result. Some persons might say, okay, no. So there's a difference between operations and projects. Operations has no specific end. To something like accounting activity, production. This is as the life cycle of a firm or of an organization. These ones go on repetitive. Uh, they are repetitive. Oh, I bite my tongue. It's an ongoing stuff that happens in a project. So what's project management? Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, techniques to project activity to meet project requirements. It can also be defined as managing projects so that you can achieve all its goals while dealing with all project constraints. I think I like the second one because it talks more of basically what project management is. So managing a project so that you can achieve all its goals because every project has a goal. Yeah, when you are dealing with your clients, there are deliverables you must give. there are benchmarks. So if your project is a milestone, they're like, if until you finish this before we can pay you this, or that's how we want to use to evaluate. So there are goals. What do you want to achieve? So you want to do a wedding. What do you want to achieve? You want to do a birthday. What do you want to achieve? You have goals. You are going to buy drinks. You are going to call DJ. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Now, the moment that your birthday or your wedding or whatever you are doing, you haven't yet hit those goals. You find out that, oh, Omo, it's like, I'm going to postpone this project though, because I don't have maybe enough finance. I haven't seen a good DJ. So those are um so you know what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So all this now, your DJ, whatever, can be seen as project constraint. Those things that um you are that forms a wall that constrains you. And one of project constraint is time, finance, cash. These two things, labor. These are the three major constraints we have in projects. So your goal is to build a three-story building. One of the constraints, your client is going to tell you that, okay, I have maybe 60 million or 150 million. I want to build this house. It's a constraint. So you are constraining yourself to work based on your client budget. So that's why you see when people go for bidding, they say, oh, clients are not actually looking for the lowest bidder. They're actually looking for something that is reasonable, because someone cannot be charging 2 million and you're charging 500,000 or 300,000. Like, first person, his own is 2 million, his second person, 1.5, the other person, 1 point. It's only you that is 200,000. Like, how do you want to execute? Even myself, I'll not even give you that job. So basically, that's it. Project doesn't really go for the lowest bidder, something reasonable, and if you know somebody inside. So there are constraints, like I said, the finance. The finance is one of the major constraints. Your labor. So if carrying out an activity is going to take 5 persons to do this in 3 days, but you have 3 persons on ground, that's a constraint. It means you will have more time. You will need to allocate more time to that project because you have three. You are already short of labor to finish that project. So project goals, these are the results you need to achieve from a project. Example, you need to deliver products, services, or results, and it needs to be delivered on time, within budget, and with required specifications, ensuring quality. Just like I said, time is one of those things you need to consider, and constraints. So we have looked at your scope, we have looked at the cost, we have looked at the time, we have looked at the quality, resources also. So I'm going to, please, while I am teaching, I would like you to drop your questions on the chat box. If there's something you have thought of before, you want to get clarity on, you shouldn't allow me to finish the slide um before asking your question, because I might forget. Okay. So we now know what constraint is. Every project has a scope, and whenever you are being given a contract, you always say, what's the scope of work? Because there's what we call scope creep. So your clients might just come, we forgot, we need to add three beams here. No, we need to call for a change of scope. How do we manage that? Because the moment those two pillars is extra cost, we need to factor that in. So this is a project scheduler is majorly interested in developing the timeline of how the project is going to be executed. The project planner is interested in how is this project going to be executed? Who is going to execute this project? When is this project going to be executed? And we are now looking at start and finish. When? When is it going to start? When is it going to end? Who? the laborers, or yeah, laborers. How is it going to be executed? What is the timeline? What's the scope? How are we going to build this house? So the project scheduler and a planner are two different persons, but for you to be a professional, a good planner is a good scheduler, but a good scheduler is not a good project planner. I would like you to go with that. That's word of knowledge. A good scheduler cannot be a good project planner, but a good project planner is a good scheduler. So if you want to go into project scheduling, you should have an idea of what project planning is. So there are 5 process groups of project management. And like I said, if you were here, I said the project planner works hand in hand with the project manager. And those of you who have taken your PMP exam, this is basically the 5 stages of executing a project: initiation phase, planning phase, execution phase, monitoring and control, and closing. And the project planner is involved in all of them. Now, if you just want to be a scheduler, this is where your work ends, in planning. So this planning now, we are now looking at developing your schedule, planning, mobilization. How long is it going to take? You know, all the back and forth we need to do. And this is the most critical aspect in a project, the planning phase. So I believe we have civil engineers here. So who is in civil engineering? I would like to maybe call somebody up. If you are joining this call and you're a civil engineer, please indicate. I need to talk with somebody. I want this class to be interactive, actually. Or Madam Shalewa, do you want to join us? So do we have somebody in construction, civil engineering, project manager on this call? So you have something to contribute. So the reason I'm saying this, I need somebody who can contribute from your wealth of experience in your field. Okay. Opeyemi, say you're a civil engineer, like civil engineer, not somebody, not recent graduates. Like, sorry for asking, no. Like I'm asking, like you have executed projects, and these things I'm saying is resonating with you. You can share your own wealth of experience. It's not just read civil engineering in school. So sorry for saying that, but that I actually want to achieve something. So my wealth of experience has basically been in the oil and gas. Ethanol plants, LNG, blah, blah, blah. Okay, okay. Okay, Shalewa, let me send you the link. Okay, yeah, you can check the group. For those of you that said you have done civil engineering, check YouTube link, sorry, Zoom link. I'll just admit 2 persons. I'll admit 2 persons inside. Shalewa and one other person. Because if we just go with theoretical aspect, this, that, it's not going, most of you will not actually enjoy what P6 is. Like this software is on another level. It's like project planning on steroid. Yon Labi, I don't know who is this one that is. Please, if your name here is not, it's not tallying with whoever is sending requests, I'm not accepting. No. Okay, Shaliwa, you can send requests. Opeyemi, you can send a request. Tolu, you can send a request. Check the group chat. I have dropped the Zoom link there. Okay, I've admitted Shalewa. I'm waiting for some other person before I continue. Please, I would like you guys to be fast so that um, we can move over to something else. Obeyemi, I'm still waiting. Okay, so while we are waiting for others, I'm going to explain this. So we have the initiation phase. This is where this has to do with your contract, defining the scope of your project. Your client is saying, we want to do this, we want to do that, the first phase, and all of that. Okay, so so this is how it's going to go. We have 5 stages here. The initiation phase now, so far, just one person. Shalewa, you are going to tell us how you went, or the project you executed, the initiation phase, how it went. So the the floor is yours, ma. So just tell us your initiation phase.
Okay, thank you, sir. A client sent a request to source for a construction engineer and included the job description, and there was some missing information as it is going to be a rotational job, and it is going to be contract or permanent job, a standard job, contract job. So I reached out to the clients who already initiated the process to get the necessary information to have a complete job description that was sent out to the proposed applicants. So that is what I know as an initiation stage. And I got approval from my boss to go ahead, and I went ahead and published the request.
Okay, thank you, ma. Yeah, perfect. So initiation phase is that point in a project where you are having back and forth with your client. You're trying to get clarity, reduce ambiguity of your project. Okay, this is not defined, this is defined. What do we do here? Client says we need it in 6 months, and contractor is saying, okay, this you are saying cannot be executed in 6 months. Can't we do 8? 8 is the barest minimum. This is what is going to happen, and all of that. So the initiation said that's also where you get your contracts, terms of contracts, and every other thing. Okay, thank you, ma. I I really appreciate. We're also going to get to the planning stage of this your current project. So let's make the floor open for Opeyemi, Makinde. So you tell us the project you executed, the initiation phase, how it went, how it went.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma.
Yeah. Yes, for the invitation stage, actually I came on board at the very later part of it, but having been on board, I had to review everything that was sent to us. We had to go through, we discovered some discrepancies. So we had to send back to the client, and the way it's been done, I say we are making a new tender. We have to put in our own idea, while they also come up with their own idea, and we both agreed on what we think is the best for both our side and their own side. So there were a lot of so many things that we had to correct so that everybody will be happy at the end of the day. So it was more like a revisit of what was done before, but we had other things included where we also removed those ambiguities and discrepancies that we felt were not necessary.
Okay, oh, that's lovely. So, like I said, the initiation phase is where we get whatever you don't factor in now. It's going to You are going to have the how will I put it now? The side effects. It's going to wait for you in the project itself because
Yeah.
all the ambiguity and some hidden clauses, in contract, after project planner manager has reviewed key stakeholders and this set of persons, um, let's say lead project engineers, they have gone through. The next people that has to go through that stuff now is the legal team, contracts. There are a lot of hidden clauses inside there that you think you understand. It's until the lawyer explains that thing to you. That's when you know that you don't understand anything there. Okay, so the next stage we have is the planning stage, where this is where we now say, okay, this project we want to. The initiation stage, we don't really need much persons, just key stakeholders from both sides, the contractor, maybe executive, um, probably the executive arm. Then planning, this is where we now get the engineers, lead engineers to come in. We want to execute this. How do we go about it? But somehow, during the initiation phase too, we keep some SME in touch. These you usually skip my mind. What we do call them subject matter experts. Yeah. So we keep some of the subject matter experts in touch because you can't go to bid for a project where you don't really know what you are bidding for. It's the subject matter expert that actually knows the terrain and what it's required. So when we are saying, okay, we want to remove all ambiguity, we want to make this as easy as possible, this can't be done in 6 months, it's minimum 8 months. Where are you drawing those your data from? It's your subject matter expert because your MD definitely is not the one that is going to say those things. That's not his job. He's basically the hem of affairs, just at the organizational aspect. So planning now, this is where we now get the whole team of engineers together. How long is it going to take us for excavation? What footing are we using? Let's assume you are doing a building construction. What footing are we using? We are going to do soil tests. We need a civil engineer, the reinforcement, cost and estimation. All those things comes into planning. And after we have finished planning, the civil engineer has given us his deliverables. Um, Mechanical piping has given us his deliverables. Architect has drawn the plan. Civil engineer has used Orion or Protastructure to do everything. And we know that the building is good to go. This is where the scheduler comes in. So he now creates a schedule from the start point up until when the project is going to be closed out. Then after the scheduler finish his schedule, most times that's where his job ends. But his job might not end there. He can still come in terms of updating the projects and reporting, but most times they always give it to projects. One thing in engineering is that some of these departments is intertwined. One person can do one or two. Project engineer can still do the reporting. Project planner can still do the reporting. Sometimes project manager can still do the reporting. So it depends. So after we have planned, we have said, okay, this is what it's going to take. And so far, this is now the execution phase. Okay, Opeyemi, can you give us more info on the project you worked on, the planning phase, how it went through?
Yeah, the project I was into was in Aba, the LDS church. So after the whole thing, because I told you I came in towards the end of it, so I work with the architect. We had to draw up the plan regarding how we want to go about it, moving to site, starting the work. So from there, material movement to site, purchase of the necessary material. So we had to draw up plans, and we now did what we call work scheduling concerning each of the aspects of the work to be done. So that was what we did, and it was during that period we had allocated time in order for us to determine the critical ones that we cannot afford to waste time with because of the work schedule planning. Hello?
Okay,
Hello?
thank you so much. Yeah,
Okay,
I can
thank you.
hear you. Yeah, thank you. So for those of you listening, you heard her say mention schedule, and also critical activity. Yeah, with P6, you can allocate the number of days you are attaching to a particular activity. So let's assume we want to review this drawing. So if there was a previous schedule, what we now need to do is to create maybe a new schedule. Depends. We can create a new schedule and reallocate activities there. And as a project planner, one of my major aim is to get a extract our critical activity. It is the most important. That one, project planner and project manager can fight you on site. The moment you try to do something that will tamper a critical activity, because the moment a critical activity is delayed by 1 day, it means you need to do crashing. You need to crash that project to recover your lost time. It's either you're crashing or you are fast tracking the project. And sometimes imagine curing. Curing, how do you want to fast track curing? Curing has its number of days, and it's either you are using that number of days or you are not. So that's basically why one of the reasons we create a schedule, so that we can actually monitor how these activities are going. We also have a baseline. So in P6, we create your baseline, and we know what a baseline is. It's what we are using to reference your project updates. So after, let's say, excavation 3 days, um, you start, project has started, completed, 100%, and all of that. Okay, so Mashalewa, can you, tell us how your your project went in terms of the planning phase?
Okay, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Since we have the job description, we have to define the objectives and scopes. This include identifying the skills, the roles, and the project duration. You also have to work on your budget and turnaround time so as to prevent loss. Also, will determine the type of we'll talk about the communication plan, going forth and back with the client, and also the what type of means of advertisement or visibility you intend to use You have to go for a cheaper one that will give you quality CVs at the end of the day that you will have to review and narrow down to number of CVs that you need at the end of the day, sir. That's all.
Okay. Thank you so much, man. Okay. So after the planning phase, the next phase is the execution, where we execute the project, and it's always called execution and monitoring somehow. They are all related. After we executed the project, we now need to monitor the project. Like Opeyemi said, um, they had to, go back, check the schedule, allocate time, allocate the duration for each activity. Then we now need to follow up, because you can tell the medicine man or your supervisor that, or the person on ground, we need today, we need to make sure that we erect 2 columns. And if you don't follow them up, you are not on site. Those people can just relax, because they are being paid day job, or however your method of payment for your medicine men. Yeah. If you don't follow them up, some of them will just be on site doing nothing. Tell you, Oga, you call, how you put this? Yes, 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 we are doing something. Normally, let's assume that they're supposed to mix 18 bags of cement a day, assuming, depending on the workers. At the end of the day, you go there, they'll mix 10, and you still pay them their normal money. So this is where monitoring and control comes into play. And we know that they are force of major, and I believe I pronounced it well, or some circumstances that are beyond your control. So let's assume that there are activities you need to carry out that you don't need rain for. It's going to affect what you are doing, and rain started falling. In fact, rain fell for 2 days straight. It just means that activity has been on pause. So this is where monitoring and control comes in. So we now need to look for somewhere, somehow, in our project where we can crash one activity. Maybe so for those of you that are civil engineers here and maybe project managers, business, I would love you to go for this course. And so there are 4 relationships in Primavera P6. So we have finish to start. So it means the predecessor has to finish before the successor will start. And one of the examples I gave previously for that is that you need to, first of all, dig your trenches before you start doing your foundation and all of that. If you don't dig your trenches, so that is finished to start. So there are activities that can go start to start. You understand? So while this activity is going on, another activity can be going on. And in terms of construction, I'm trying to okay, can you give me an activity that 2 activities can start together, like plastering. Plastering can be going on while they are fixing the roof. I think, yeah, that's start to start.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So someone can be doing tiling, another person can be the
Mixing of plumbing materials.
Yes, exactly. So if initially our project, what we had was we are going to do plumbing first, then we now do tiling. So what we can do is that we are looking for a way to crash our project, because rain has fell like 2 days. We are 2 days behind our working schedule. So what we can now say, okay, why Tyler? The moment Tyler, or the moment they finish plumbing for, let's start with the toilet. The plumber has finished. Instantly, the Tyler starts. So why they finish this for this, they're just being run simultaneously to cut. We are trying to buy time back. So that's basically what happens. So sometimes in pipeline, maybe a worker fell ill, something happened, um, there's riots maybe on site or something. Workers can riot, something like that. Maybe it took 3 days. One, your machinery, equipment you are buying, you know that you pay per day. And the person you are purchasing it from on lease, that's not his business. And you're like 4 days or 1 week behind schedule. So it's either, this is where the constraint comes in. Let me go back to our constraint. Now, constraint, we have cost, time, quality, resources, and risk. Risk is resources now. In order for us to beat or get back our 1 week, we need to use more laborers or more personnel. So if 5 persons can achieve this in 3 days, or 3 persons can achieve it in 5 days, if we use 5 persons, means maybe we can achieve it in 3 days or 2 days. So using more resources will help you beat time. And using more resources is meaning more cost. So sometimes we need to come to a compromise. And this is where the contract, who will bear the loss, or who will bear what during a contract phase. So there are terms and conditions, there are clauses there. There are things that are beyond the contractor. So you see some clients say that they are filing for damage or claims. That's also part of what you are being taught as a project planner. It's different from this. So they are in PSP exam. So there's an area for claims. And it means that a project planner, you need to know how to read a contract. It's important as an engineer. It is very, very important. In fact, my time as a project planner, I'm like, God, thank God I know how to read. Because there are things you just don't know exist, but it exists until you now read that contract very well. So, like force of major, even most contracts carries it as a contractor, or you are being employed on contract. It is always stated there that force of major, be it riots, weather, whatever, um, yeah, it can interrupt your availability on site, and all of that. It can be taken care of. You are not going to be held concerning that. Maybe people are working on site now. Community people say, oh, they have not paid this one, paid the other one. It's not your fault. Those are force of major. So if those things are not on contract, you're just shooting yourself in the leg. So monitoring and control, this is where all this come into play. It goes hand in hand with executing, and this is where we also have to do our reporting. So it depends on your client, your mode of, Shaliwa said it, you have to establish your mode of communication, mode of sharing information, how many days it's going to take you to do, all those things are in the contract. So some say, if you want to back out of a contract, you need to give a how many days quick notice, written quick notice via mail, this and that. Reporting, how are we reporting? And what are we actually even reporting in the first place? So this is where all those stuff comes in, because you and your client, if it's a 1 year project, your client will just leave it like that. So based on milestone, or how long you guys, depending on how the project is going, some persons may say there will be reporting every week, maybe every Tuesday, every Wednesday. Okay, what happened? What happened on site? How far have you gone? What is your look ahead? What are the delays? What are the constraints? Because there are some documents you even a request from your client. It will take them 5 days. So you, in your report, you will tell them that, okay, now this project is being delayed by 5 days, and it is not our fault. It is the client fault. So you can't ask for claims on that. So this is where a good project planner comes in. I don't know if I haven't really studied PMP from beginning to the end. But the one I'm doing, project planning, I know that every report we need to specify it. we asked you, Seplat, to give us so and so drawing for this. We need this in your facility. And normally, from our schedule, it's supposed to take you 2 days to do that. It has taken you 2 weeks. We are going to bring out our Gantt charts and schedule. This. We are how many days? 14 days behind schedule. And this is the reason, this is the cost. So that when the client says, we are supposed to end this project 14th February, and 14th February, we have not ended it, we'll hold our report that this is why this project delayed. Yeah, your clients will now have an understanding. Well, not just wake up at the end of the project and say, we told you to bring a plot plan for us. You not give us plot plan, it took you, and you hear back and forth. Don't worry. So start talking. So that's why this reporting is necessary. Okay. So for those of you on YouTube, if you have a question, like I said, I would like you to drop it in the comment section. And our two guests, if you also have a question for me, you can always ask. Then we also have closing. Like I said, every project has a start date and an end date. So the initiation aspect, this is where the initial scope, objective, financial analysis, stakeholder analysis, roles and responsibility, formal authorization. Then we have planning. Project plan provides the guidelines on how the project will be carried out or executed. It also provides the baseline on targets to compare the progress. I said something about baselines, your reference points. Then we have your WBS, which is your work breakdown structure. This is something, WBS is something we use a lot. Now, this indicates all the components or deliveries rather, of a project. So we have activities are listed according to their scope of work and their sequence, resources and duration. Resources and duration. So we now develop our schedule. With PCs, you can estimate your cost. With PCs, you can do your S-curve. You can carry out your resource allocation. You can carry out your manpower, know the amount of time and all of that is required. So plans are also made for quality, human resources, communication risk, procurement, and stakeholders. So this is where the planning phase comes in. This is what we do in the planning phase. Then we have execution, performing tasks accordingly, coordination of people and resources. In the progress group data or updates or in the process group data or updated, supposed to be updates are collected, which are used for monitoring and control of projects. Then we have monitoring and control. Progress of the project is analyzed compared with the project plan, bringing projects back on track. So this bringing projects back on track now has to do with things I said concerning probably there's an aspect of the job that needs time for curing, and there has been constant rainfall, and we can't execute this project if there's constant rainfall. So it means we are maybe 3 days behind schedule, or we are asking for a document from our client. Our client is not giving us a good feedback. Okay, this, or maybe it can be finance, yeah. So projects are being carried out based on milestone. Sometimes they can tell you, okay, mobilize yourself to site. After we have seen that you have done something, we give you your first, your first 30% you mobilize yourself, or when you have gone 30% into the project, then we can start paying you. Then before you know, you have done your mobilization, gone 30%, no money is coming again. Then the project was halted for a month. So we need to bring that project back on track. Okay, now here we are saying results are compared with project plan. What we mean here is we have, from our schedule, we said we are going to use 2 days in doing excavation. We are going to compare it, what we have on our schedule and our actual. The actual work done, is it the same with what we propose on our schedule? So we are going to compare that. So in project planning, we have actual, we have end, and we have the last one. I can't remember, but these are the 3 factors which we use in evaluating our project. We have the end value, we have the actual value, which is the actual work done. And I think it's not proposed value. We have EV, which is end value. We have AV, which is actual value. I can't remember the last one. I can't remember the last one. It's skipping my brain. So these are, you have to check your end value with proposed values. No, it's not proposed value, it's schedule value. I can't really remember, Sha. Then we also check the progress of the project is analyzed. This is where our reporting comes into play. Then here we have close projects or control closure. Sorry, contract closure, not. So contract closure means all characters of the project are closed. Now, contract closure doesn't mean the project is completed successfully. Contracts can be closed due to performance issue or another reason. So contract closure means, so a project can be ongoing and you have, just like Shalewa said, that the client said we need so and so person, so we need to clarify if it's a permanent role or is a contract role. Let's assume that it's a contract role and it's a 6-month contract. The moment that contract finishes, the moment your own contract finishes, your own 6-month contract, that your contract has closed, but the project is still ongoing. So it is either the extent is what we now call contract extension. The contract is now extended for another 6 months. So someone in projects, they are caterers. So your contracts can be that you are going to be the food vendor for this project for 4 months, while we have another vendor for another 4 months. So while the project is going on, your own contract has closed the moment your 4 months elapse. Then project closure is where we now have the total, the project has come to a close, a halt. So what's the importance of schedule and its importance? Schedule is a basic unit which is used in planning, monitoring, and controlling of a project. The schedule is basically a timetable of activities showing their durations, their durations, showing their durations, sequence of activities. Schedule can also be used for the following: making procurement schedule, resource optimization, making time and cost claims. So remember I said your clients can file for claims. So this is where your schedule, based on the schedule you are going to give to them, they are going to do this in so and so days. They believed what you said as a contractor. They are going to feel solar light that is going to last for 1 year before one gets bonds. In 2 months, all the solar lights in one street has gone bad. This is where claims comes into play. So I think this one just because solar light now that is raining, NDDC and solar light. So making time and cost claims. So yeah, your clients can also file for claim that this is eating into their time. They're supposed to commission this project by 1st of March, and you haven't finished the project. You have made them lose $5 billion. $5 billion is even more than the money they give you to the project. That's a massive problem now that start going to court, litigation here and there, trying to resolve internally, mediator, and what have you, until it come to a compromise on what to do. Okay, so identifying critical and near critical parts, yeah, that's something we have said. Calculating the flows from different dates, contractors, billing, identifying issues and risks. So there are a lot of reasons why we need to develop our schedule. This is just basically one of those reasons. So in our next class tomorrow, we are going to continue what's a Gantt chart. We are going to look at the Gantt chart. Then tomorrow we are going to look at P6 and we'll do some of all this stuff. Yeah. Okay, thank you all for participating in today's class. I believe you all learned something. Like today's class is, to me, I think today's class is one of the best class that we have had so far. So please wait for attendance. I need to drop the attendance. Just give me a minute, please. So for those of you on Zoom, I have just dropped the form in the chat box, and the course code is Primavera P6. Yeah, the course code is Primavera P6, like I said. So those of you that attended today's class, I would like you to do me a favor. So I think some of our participants, they feel because this class is free, nothing is really happening. So I would like you to drop your review. I've just opened the main group. Please kindly drop your review for today's class so that other persons are going to know that they are missing if they are not here. Nigeria, so many persons feel that whenever something is free, it's not going to be um, it's not going to be detailed enough for them to learn something. And I would like you to prove them wrong that the training so far has been good. And yeah, so that APWEN president and chairman, chairman, will also know that yeah, participants are benefiting something from this. It's not like we are just wasting their time. So the group is open. I would like you guys to do that now. Please, I indulge you. I don't really know and which other. I beg you in the name of God and whatever you are serving. according to my friend. Yes, please just go to the main group and say something. Yeah, I said the course code is Primavera P6. Primavera P6, that's our course code. So our course code is Primavera P6. Okay, yeah, Primavera P6. I just said that on the okay. Let me type it here. Primavera. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Payemi. I love that. Okay, we are going to see on Wednesday by 8:30 p.m. Okay, someone said I should explain the closure again. So I said there are two types of closure. We have project closure, which is the entire project that is closing. So your procurement, you have in projects, there are subcontractors. So you can contract somebody to supply you nails. And the moment the person finishes supplying that nail under procurement, the person's own contract for that project has ended. But it does not mean the entire project has ended. You can contract somebody to supply you cement. That's the person's own contract. You have won the contract to supply cement or rod or steel, whatever. Or if you need 3 pump, high pressure pump, the person is that's his contract, and his own contract has ended. That is contract closure. But for that project, the project is still ongoing. You understand? I also give another illustration that for projects, there are food vendors. So depend, yeah. So you can have like 2 food vendors. You tell the person that okay, you are going to be the food vendor for 4 months. After that, you have another person that will take over for another 4 months. The moment that person's 4 months elapse, his contract as a food vendor for you, for your project, has ended. You understand? Now, there are 4 courses we took. We have AutoCAD, we have cyber security, we have data analysis, and Primavera P6. Let's assume that we contracted AutoCAD to an instructor. The moment AutoCAD instructor finished teaching, his contract has ended. He's been paid. But our 4 weeks training still continues, isn't it? Yeah, the project has not ended. This project is going to end when? On Friday. Then we are going to have a closing session, probably on Wednesday, on Saturday, or on Sunday. You get cybersecurity was a contract. We had our cybersecurity instructor. He has done his part, he has gone, but our project has not closed. So I believe with this few points of mine, panel of the Sacred Timekeeper, and what have you, I believe I've been able to explain that effectively. Thank you all once again, and have a good night rest. Bye.